Bonjour, bonsoir, dear friends, and welcome to Wine Lifestyle today with Gregory Patriat, our charismatic, charming, talented, and very sophisticated winemaker out of Burgundy. We together build this amazing winery that sits on a historical convent from the 17th century. Where we are today is a moment of history. The winery was built on a 1640, early 17th century vision of the Ursuline sisters of Burgundy. We're going to tour the winery in the middle of harvest right now, 2021, with Gregory Patriat, who conceived and planned the winery as you see it. So Gregory, tell us about the vision of the winery from a bioclimatic standpoint.
Hello, how are you? Nice to see you again. Just to explain you about the bioclimatic standpoint here at Jean-Claude Boisset, Les Ursulines. One important thing, we didn't want any air conditioning inside this winery. So that means this winery has a shape of dome with vineyards planted at the top and 1 meter of earth that recover the top of the building. So this meter of earth makes the isolation of the building. So that means, to give you an example, during the last heat wave last summer, 2020, we had 39 degrees Celsius outside and it was only 18 degrees Celsius inside the winery. So the isolation is really perfect, and this is why we don't need any air conditioning in the winery. A second important example is recycling. Here we recycle all the rain that is coming through the roof is reused and to clean all the soil, and we clean as much as possible with this water that we recycle and is coming from the roof of the building. We have 5 tanks in the cellar where we collect all the rain coming from the roof.
Now, Gregory, we are coming in to this amazing shape that I would love for you to describe and explain the perfect shape, the divine proportion of the arch and the egg shape, and why are the vats organized this way?
So with this project, this new winery, we worked with a kind of science that is a little bit unusual and it's not very common to use it. This is called geobiology. Geo means the earth, bio means the science, and logie means the knowledge. So this is a science that talks about the shapes, the energies that are inside or just under our feet. So our geobiologist, Mr. Pratt, here told us that if you want good energy in this winery, you must have only curves, as much curves as possible, so no angle. He told us that the worst wine of your winery will be the one that will be close to an angle. So this is why you have this winery is all about curves. You know, the big central dome here, and we are like in a big egg, I would say. So it has to be as circular as possible. So the energy has to go and to really feel the space, I would say.
Now let's go and see the harvest in full motion. This is the sorting table. And why do you actually, when the harvest is so small, still needs to sort the grapes?
So this year, 2021, is we have a very small crop in Burgundy, with frost, with bad flowering as well. So even if the crop is very small, it's very important to sort the grapes, because you can get some different small diseases like botrytis, mildew, oidium, and that can affect the grapes. So, as we usually say, to make some good wines, you really have to sort what you want to. You have to keep what you want to eat. So all the small piece of leaf, small of dirty grapes, or that has a different color, has to be sorted as much as possible. And sometimes, even if the crop is small, they can sort until 25%. You put only the grapes in the tank that you want to eat. Or everything you want to eat, you put it in the tank. So that's a very important rule to keep in mind to make some good wine. You don't make any good wine without any top grapes.
Now let's go back to the winery and see how you actually put those wonderful Pinot Noir grapes into those fabulous open-top fermenters. And what happens into those vats?
We are here in the front of a tank full of Jean-Claude. Jean-Claude is one of the most famous red appellations in Burgundy, the Côte de Nuit, one of the most prestigious. And these grapes are here for now 3 weeks, and they have been harvested the 1st of October. We are now something like the 20th. And that's we have 3 weeks of maceration here. The juice of the Pinot Noir is white, as we need to extract the color from the skin, from the stem, from the pips that are here. And it takes a few days, a few weeks to be fully extracted. So what we are doing here is every day we plunge, you have a cap in front of me here, and we plunge the cap the day in the juice that is just under this cap, because the fermentation is going on. It's going right now. And we extract the color coming from the skin every day like that. And we try to tank the juice every day. And when we are happy about it, when we feel that the balance is perfect, the tannins are completely well extracted, when the color is good, and then we simply, after 3 weeks, put away the juice, and we put away grapes in the pneumatic press that are here. We press that 55 minutes, and we blend these two juices together, and we have the wine that is going to be aged in small classic Burgundy barrels, 228 liters, in the cellar under where we are today.
Show us the inside of a vat, Gregory. I would like you to go deep into it and show our friends why those vats are so unique and why you do what you do, and you give patience, extra sign of patience, and let the conversion of sugar into alcohol become so vibrational, magnetic, and magical.
Something that is really important for the winemaking process is to use as much as possible the gravity process. In fact, the less you touch the juice, the less you pump the wine, the most gentle is the process, the best it is, especially with Pinot Noir, that is very, very sensitive. So the idea with this gravity, with this winery here, is to use gravity, as much gravity as possible. So we use gravity to fill the wooden tanks with the grapes, but we use gravity as well to fill the barrel in the cellar. So once, for the white wines, when the juice is pressed upstairs, you know, at the ground floor, it is going directly, after a few hours, in the barrels. Here we fill the barrels, and with natural yeast, we do not inoculate with yeast, the wine are going to start their fermentation, and this whole process is going to last between 12 and 20 months. And for the reds, this is exactly the same thing. After the maceration, that lasts around 3 weeks, we blend the two juices, the pressed juice and the other juice, coming from the grapes for the reds, and then we use gravity as well to fill the red barrel in the cellar. And like the whites, the process starts with what we call the aging in the cellar, and what we call this micro porosity, where the wine is going to develop with different interesting aromas during this aging process in the barrel in the cellar.
Now, the harvest is showing completion in the vat, and you're going to devat and bring it to a barrel. How does that work?
The Jean-Claude Boisset vision and winemaking process here is very clear. Since the beginning, and 20 years ago, we have decided to restart, reposition this winery. We have decided to interfere as less as possible with the winemaking process. So to add as less as possible enological products. So no yeast, no enzyme, no artificial tannins added. So that was very important to let the grapes express themselves, and the terroir really must appear as clearly as possible in each wine. Each wine must have a real individuality and a real terroir impact. So that means that during the fermentation of the whites or the reds, we must not find any obstacles to any process. So that means we use only natural yeast. So that means the yeast has to feel well, and we have to do the fermentation until the end of the process. So that's very important for us here to not inoculate with selected yeast, because at the end of the day, each wine is very different, and you have much more terroir. You know, in Burgundy we have Chardonnay for the whites, Pinot for the reds, but we have thousands of expression of these two grape varieties. So it's very important in a winery, in a cellar, that the energy and all the elements goes in the right direction to help the wine to do the alcoholic fermentation well, to do the malolactic fermentation well, and then in fact it has to go until the end of the aging process in the cellar that can last 20 months.